AITA calling my girlfriend selfish for refusing to learn sign language for my daughter. My daughter Ruby was born mute. She can understand words, but we use sign language to communicate. While she can use her phone or write, obviously she prefers to sign. The issue is my girlfriend, Amanda. We've been dating for around 9 months, and introduced our children around 3 months ago. They don't know sign language, so communication with Ruby was awkward at first. She hates having to write or use her phone at home. So I taught Amanda some basic signs beforehand, and I've continued teaching her and Mia more in this time. Mia is getting a lot better actually. But Amanda has apparently decided it's too hard and refuses to learn anymore. She says that it's unnecessary since Ruby can understand her and communicate other ways. While Ruby is usually willing to do that for them, she doesn't enjoy it and finds it frustrating. I told Amanda she's being selfish and lazy. That it's not fair to put all the effort on Ruby. It's one thing if she doesn't get it after years, but it's only been a few months. It's just ridiculous. We got into a fight over it and she basically called me an a-hole and said it's not her fault she struggles with it. But that doesn't mean just give up. If she wants to be in our life, it's the bare minimum effort to put in. I clearly think she's just being selfish, while she thinks I'm an a-hole and unfair. I vented to my brother and he agreed with Amanda. That I can't force her to learn and not everyone is good with language. And that Ruby doesn't need it and I'm coddling her. I'm honestly still pissed off, but I do love Amanda. She's normally thoughtful and kind, and I guess it's possible it's just me being overprotective of Ruby. I think it's a reasonable expectation, but I'm starting to doubt myself. Update: I want to thank everyone for the advice and responses. I definitely don't agree with everything, but I can see both sides. First, I do want to clear up some stuff. I'm not sure why so many people act like I sprung it on Amanda. I never said I did, and I certainly didn't. I told her up front about Ruby and was clear that I expected a partner to be willing to put in the effort for her sake. Also, I never criticized Amanda for not being fluent. I had no expectation it would be easy or quick. Hell, I struggled at first. I've never insulted her or had issues with her progress. My only issue was that she refused to try anymore. While my words were immature, it was only after she basically said it wasn't worth learning sign language that I got upset and said it. I find the idea it's too soon honestly strange. Wouldn't it be worse for us to be engaged or married before I know if she's willing to put in the effort for my daughter? I don't expect perfection, just for her to try. I understand that Ruby needs to be able to communicate in other ways. She has to for school. But that doesn't mean she should be forced to at home. Besides all this, I did consider our relationship serious. I love Amanda. With that aside, I think it's mostly been resolved. Amanda came over and apologized for how she acted. She explained that she had been trying to hide how much she was struggling, and got frustrated seeing how quickly Mia was getting it while she understood nothing. Basically, Amanda was seeing how quickly and effortlessly I was getting close to Mia, and was feeling like she was useless with her lack of progress, especially knowing how important it was to me. We had a long talk about it. I apologized for my immature reaction and explained that it was always non-negotiable for me. And I brought up that if it would make her miserable and resentful, it may be better to separate. Amanda did not like that, and we talked about our relationship and expectations. I considered it serious the moment she met Ruby. While Amanda didn't see it quite the same way, she knew she wanted me in her life and understood that meant she had to try with Ruby. Amanda has decided to find her own professional teaching. She thinks it will be better for her frustration to show there than with Ruby or I. I'll keep teaching Mia, because she really enjoys it. It doesn't matter whether she is fluent, as long as she's trying. I know Ruby will appreciate the effort. For now, Ruby will still have to use other methods to communicate. She was anyway, but hopefully one day she won't have to. Unfortunately, my brother stands by what he says. He said that even though Amanda has given in, it was still unfair of me. That I'm lucky Amanda is willing to put up with it. I've honestly lost a lot of respect for him with all this. I don't understand how he can think that about Ruby and I. Still, overall I'd say it's gone well. Thanks for the advice, whichever way you lent. I think we'll be able to get through it. Story 2. AITA for setting boundaries with my stepson? Forgive me for any mistakes, I'm a long-time lurker who made an account specifically to ask about this issue. I, 47 meters, have a stepson, 16 meters, who for the purposes of this post, we'll call T. I've been married to my wife, 48F, for 2 years and have 2 daughters, 7F and 9F, with my ex. Since the day T moved into my house, he has been nothing but disrespectful. I understand that change, especially change this drastic, moving, getting new siblings / a new parent, is hard for a kid, but some of the stuff he does just crosses a line. For example, I transferred him to a really great private high school when he moved in because I wanted him to have the best opportunities. He always complains that he doesn't like his new classmates, that the school is too far away, it's 15 minutes further than his old school, which is practically nothing, and that he doesn't like the environment. He doesn't understand that later he will thank me for this. I would have killed for an opportunity like this at his age. Additionally, he always breaks rules we have set in place. I have asked him to surrender his phone to the living room at 9 p.m. to have some family time, but he says he wants to talk to his old friends. He constantly claims not to like the food his mother or I make even when he hasn't tried it. His mother and I try to have a date night once or twice a week and he always claims he is too busy to watch his stepsisters. We have asked him repeatedly for the passwords to his social media accounts and he refuses to hand them over. Etc. I'm sick of the disrespect in my own house, so I set some boundaries. Either he starts treating me with respect and listening to me, or he can find somewhere else to live. Obviously I wouldn't really kick him out, but I'm hoping this scares some sense into him. My wife, however, said I took it too far and need to apologize and tell him I wasn't serious. I feel like this will undermine my authority though. AITA? Edit, I just want to clarify a few things because they seem to be causing confusion in the comments. He did not change schools when he was 16. We had him change when he was 14, when he moved into my house, so about halfway through his first year of high school. Also, he did know about the change, we talked to him about it beforehand. He wasn't excited but he did know that he would be changing schools. Update, thank you for everyone who has taken the time to comment, and thank you further to the people who have offered helpful advice. I didn't come here to be vindicated, I came to find out if I was doing everything I could for my stepson and clearly I am not. I am going to try to fix what I have done wrong. I'll offer him the option to switch back schools, although I understand that it might be too late, and I will drastically ease up on the restrictions that we have been set in place. Furthermore, I am going to sit down and apologize. I want him to know he is cared for and that I was wrong. Another update, a little bit more than a year ago, I asked for advice on how to deal with my stepson. I was ripped to shreds in the comments, and deservedly so. For those who haven't read the post, I didn't feel like my stepson was respecting my authority after I imposed overly strict rules upon him. I've had a few people ask for an update, but first, I wanted to clear up one thing. Many people assumed that I took an underprivileged kid and put him in a school full of rich kids. That couldn't be further from the truth. Before we married, he and his mother were very well off. We both have really well-paying jobs. The only reason he was in a public school was because the schools in our area are really great. The only reason he was switched to the private school is because it is a STEM school and I thought that would be beneficial to him. Now on to the update. After reading the comments telling me how horrible of a stepfather I was, I felt sick. This may seem unbelievable but I was genuinely trying to do right by him and I was beside myself realizing that I did more harm than good. My stepson never knew his father, and I jumped at the chance to have that special father/son bond with him. I eased up on many of the restrictions I placed. He no longer has to surrender his phone and while we still do have family time, it's about once a week instead of every night. He no longer has a bedtime and while his mom follows him on his socials, I do not. I no longer demand his passwords to anything. The only time I have asked him to babysit is in the case of an emergency but surprisingly, now that I've stopped, he's been offering to babysit every once in a while. As for the school issue, he is still at the school we switched him to. We had many long talks about this very issue and he ultimately decided to finish out his high school career at the school because, while he missed his friends, he was able to recognize that this new school offered him the best opportunity to get into the college he really wants to attend. Since all of this, the relationship between my stepson and myself has drastically improved. For his 17th birthday we offered to get him a car and he and I had a really nice time picking out the right one. I've taken him to a few basketball games which he loves, and I've enjoyed learning about the sport from him. He actually got a girlfriend and came to me for advice about dating, which is not something that would have happened before. I will say this, I am blessed with an incredibly smart, kind and compassionate stepson. Other kids may not have been so forgiving, and rightfully so. I urge other step-parents out there to really listen to their stepchildren instead of automatically trying to take over. You may not be as lucky as I was.